This is a special segment for me. I have never been afraid to show my loyalty to Florida State. I've never been afraid to show my loyalty to Bartow High School. Now, being in sports marketing, we love the entirety of Polk County, but I do live in Bartow, and it's a great town. And joining us now is the head basketball coach at Bartow High School, Terrence McGriff, and also no stranger to Sports Central. So we appreciate you coming back, Coach.
Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for inviting me.
Publicly, congratulations again on your upcoming induction to the Polk County Sports Hall of Fame. We'll get to that a little bit later. In fact, we're actually, knowing Coach McGriff the way I do, I knew we couldn't fit this in one segment. So we're going to have Coach McGriff on for two segments. So we're going to unpack a lot of different things. But I guess the first and foremost, knowing you the way I do, there's a lot of people that helped you get to what's going to happen on June 13th. So as you look back, not necessarily last year, but over the,
22nd year now.
22nd, of the program, from that first year of 6 wins to 3 state championships. I know we're doing 2 segments, but as you reflect on it, how do you get there? How do you get from 6 wins to a Hall of Fame coach?
You don't wake up coaching thinking, I want to join the Hall of Fame, right? Mm-hmm. It's all the people that got placed here in Bartow. First of all, placing me here, because I had no grandeur plans of being here for 22 years. I figured I'd be here 2 or 3 years. I'd be going back to Kathleen, or I'd be at a college somewhere. And that was my bright idea, and it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. And so God has kept me here. I'm thankful for that. He's kept a stable staff. You know, I've got 3 guys that have been with me all 22 years. And so to those 3 guys, and then another 2 or 3 guys that have been there 16 or 17 years in the same spot, coaching somebody else's child. So those guys make a difference. I've had 2 principals. I'm thankful to Mr. Pritchard, he's passed, that hired me, and then Dr. Clemens, who's retiring this year. So that's pretty unique in the public school now to have 2 principals in 22 years. We're just getting a 3rd one. Mr. Lawson's coming on here next month. And then the town, right? Bartow's a one-town school. The community, the people are at the games. The businesses, the organizations, the churches support the school. The parents are most of them are community folks, and they let you teach their kid and coach their kids. So we've had pretty good success with all the things that involve that take to run a high school sports program, not just a basketball program, because in Bartow, like we got softball today coming up at 1:15, gold, Bartow gold. Congratulations to Coach Rutenbar and the ladies bring it home. But it's, so all those things played a factor. And then having I probably don't talk about it enough, but having a wife that says you can go and do that. Mm-hmm. And because it's a, coaches that say that there's a balance between family and sports, that ain't the truth, right? And so it's a sacrifice by my wife Lisa and my 2 daughters and my other family members to allow me to use the gifts that God has blessed me with to help kids and coach basketball, do what I love to do in a place that I love to do it in.
You've talked about family more than once, and the family environment with the team.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about that, because I think that's really what makes you a special coach.
It really comes from my upbringing. We had my mom was a disciplinarian. She cracked the whip, but we had a big family, and so a lot of times she worked 3 jobs, and on the weekends we go to my granddad's house, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And in that neighborhood where my granddad stayed, my aunts and uncles stayed. There were quite a few people that stayed in the neighborhood. And so we grew up on Sundays. All weekend we'd go out and play. You know, there wasn't any iPhone to stay in the house. So we had Nintendo, but there was sometimes we say, if you're gonna stay in the house, you're gonna be working. So get outside. So we went outside and played all day. You came in to eat and to kind of freshen up, and then back outside till the lights came up. And then on Sundays, we'd go to church, and then after church, we'd have all our big family dinners, Sunday dinners. Mm-hmm. And so you're talking about 25 or 30 people.
Wow.
Between 15 and 30 people, depending on who's there, every weekend together. And so that family environment I grew up in is what I know. Mm-hmm. And so when I came to Bartow, I wasn't doing anything special, it's just what I know. And so I credit Larry Tucker, Marlon Austin, Ladarian Jones, all my coaches who they came in, and I was the youngest. I'm the youngest of those 3 guys. And I was kind of crazy. I think I've mellowed out. Kind of crazy. But I said, I want y'all's families to be involved. I didn't have a wife at the time or any kids or anything like that. But so all those three guys did. And so their wives, we would go out to eat together. And Coach Austin and Coach Tucker's son played for him, and Coach Austin's son played for him, and Dee didn't have any kids. He's young. So bringing their wives involved made a difference. All right, getting our guys to go. We can't force our faith on anybody. But we say, kids, you want to go to church during the season? Taking the guys to church, that helped build the community, because the community isn't just a family, my immediate family. It's a family thing is the community. And so we're tying in the churches, and we go visit businesses, and we go and volunteer with the Kiwanis Club. And so those are all the things that I did growing up. Like, those are the things we did in my family. We go out and volunteer in the community, and we eat together, and we love on each other, and we go outside and play sports, my cousins and my brothers and sisters together. And so we tried to bring that to Bartow. And it's worked out pretty good. Thank the Lord.
That explains one thing that maybe I didn't know. If you've ever been to a Bartow High School basketball game, you'll notice there's a 1-to-1 ratio from coaches to players. There's as many coaches as there are players, because it's a family thing.
It's a family thing. It's a family affair. Folks are catching up with us.
Yeah.
Winter Haven, who, kudos to Coach Woodside, has been to 2 Final Fours in a row.
Right.
He's got like 8 now. So he says, I got to keep up with the Joneses, with the Yellow Jackets. And so it's working.
It's the secret sauce.
It's a
One-to-one ratio.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, speaking of course, Winter Haven boys went back. Winter Haven girls were there.
Yes.
Lake Gibson girls
Yes,
basketball
first
was
time
there.
Yes, awesome. Coach Bennett.
Lakeland football wins the state title. Lake Wales wins the state title.
Lakeland Christian baseball.
Lakeland Christian softball. Bartow plays today.
Yep. Lake Wales won it yesterday, softball.
What is it about Polk County?
It's all the communities. So now I live in Lakeland. I'm from Lakeland. So it's a little bigger than Bartow, a little different, but it's still. I'm a Kathleen boy. And Kathleen's still its own community there, and they support the school. And the folks that support Lake Gibson, like, it's way out there, and they still their community. And Lakeland Christians got a little community there. So I still think it's still like Mayberry. Everybody knows your name, right? It's cheer. You can connect with people. Folks get along, and folks especially get along when it comes to kids, and they understand what's best for kids. And so sports brings people together. Everybody's this technology. We got to have it, right? It's a part of it, like what we're doing here. Like the social media, it's important. But you still got to have personal interaction. And that social media, that iPhone, cannot help you win a basketball game. It cannot help Glenn Rutenbaugh win the softball state championship, or Lake Wales girls softball, or Lakeland with Bill Castle retiring, or Lake Wales with Coach Johnson. You still got to have personal relationships and personal touch. And I think people are wanting that more than ever. I was listening to the soccer coach talk about the increased numbers with youth soccer. Well, there's no accident why folks want their kids in sports, because it's still the way it was. Like, I don't care what you can do with that iPhone. You still got to go out there and kick and work on your soccer. You still got to shoot baskets. You still got to go out and work on your cutting if you're playing football. You still got to go out in the batting cage, and you got to bat. That iPhone ain't gonna help you hit that ball over.
I saw a study recently that said people now have the attention span of 8 seconds.
Yes.
A goldfish is 9.
Yeah.
So the goldfish has passed us when it comes to attention span. And to your point, this sports is important.
It's important to help
to
build
fight that.
to continue to build a child to be a productive adult, and it provides. Okay, we got kids that have families. Like, I had a family growing up, but we got some kids who don't have that structure. So it helps have that structure for that kid. And we got a kid. So I was a great student. We have great students in Polk County. We have great students on our basketball team. We've got some students who they're not the great students, but we still got to serve those kids. And this helps say, hey, now you ain't playing basketball here without a good GPA. You ain't going to play basketball here unless you stay out of the discipline office, unless you know how to treat ladies. And so all that will help in the parents raise the kids, not raise the kids, but help them with the village, right? The whole village raises a child, but we'll still, the sports help be the village for parents and grandparents and the community.
For us, of course, we know it's the last week of school, so
kids are done.
Wait, kids are done or the teachers done? I'm married to a teacher. That's right.
The teachers were done before the kids. Yep.
That's right.
Full disclosure.
Yeah. When my wife left this morning, I'm like, last Friday, and she's an elementary school teacher, and she's got a T-shirt that says "Friday."
Yep.
So she went and got a piece of tape and put "Last Friday." So, Coach, we were before the break. We were talking about community and talking about the building of a program. But during the break, you brought up an interesting point that I think is pretty neat. Of course, June 13th will be the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and you're going in. But two of the individuals going in with you, you have a very close connection to Barney Barnett and Chris Richard.
Yeah, Mr. Barnett, as we called him, we never called him by his first name. Mr. Barnett, Publix guy. I was a Jenkins Scholar at Florida Southern. So I've got my education paid for academically through the Jenkins Foundation. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Barnett would come down. I'm from Lakeland. I'm a Boys and Girls Club kid. And Mr. Barnett had a good positive relationship with the club director, Mike Taylor. And so every once in a while, he would come down and talk to Mike Taylor, and we built the relationship with Mr. Barney. We call him Mr. Barnett. When I got the Jenkins Scholarship, and it wasn't his decision, he was excited because he actually knew one of the recipients. It was a club kid that grew up in the club when I was 5 or 6, and he knew one of the recipients of the Jenkins Scholar at Florida Southern. And so that's pretty awesome going in the hall with him. And then Chris Richard, going in the hall with him, was a Boys and Girls Club kid. We've talked during the break about the Lakeland Fire that we started in 1997. He was a Lakeland Fire kid on our national championship team. Went to Kathleen and won a state championship there, and 2 national championships with the Gators, and a cup of coffee in the NBA and overseas. And so I coached him from the time he was 15. So going in, it's perfect because I told Neal when I got the call about the Hall of Fame that I rejected. I'm not going in the Hall of Fame. I'm too young. That's Hall of Fame is for old people.
He's not kidding. He actually is like, no, I'm not doing this. I was like, well, you don't really have a choice.
And so then when I thought about that Mr. Barney was going to get in and Chris was in, I'm saying, well, this is the way, this is perfect. Because to me, coaching is about people and sports is about people. And so to go in with Mr. Barnett from Publix and his contribution on sports in this county and really in the state, you can't quantify it. And then to go in with Chris as somebody who I coached, somebody who's Mr. Florida, the highest award you can receive for a high school basketball player, national champion at Florida. To go in with those 2 guys along with the other inductees, that's what it's about to me. It's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, and of course, Steve Pierce and Coach Sykes from
Warner. So.
It's a good group.
It's a great group.
I will say this, as we're looking at the event June 13th, if you don't already have a ticket, it's 50-50 at this point because we do expect it to be completely sold out, going back to all those championships that we talked about coming. So as you reflect, and you've won 3 state titles, I know that's important, but it's not the biggest thing. And earlier we were talking about development of kids and keeping kids not only out of trouble, but on a path for academics and be leaders in the community. Now that you've had a little bit of time to reflect on it, what's your biggest takeaway over a 20-plus year career? Is it the titles? Is it the championships? What is it?
What a rich life that I've had to be able. Everybody talks about the impact you have on kids as a coach and a teacher, but they've got an impact on you too now. And for them now to see them as young adults or old adults for the guys that I was coaching back in 1997, they're some of them are pushing 40 to the older adults. So to see them, I saw you give me the crows. I'm like, oh. And to see them be members of the community with families and running businesses and in their professions, and now they're the next, raising the next generation of community folks. And I've got guys who I coach who now they're bringing their sons to me to coach. But that gives me so much joy. And when I talk to Chris and all those guys that are going to be there on the first team I coached, Chris Richards going in the Hall of Fame, and all those guys are coming, it's like 8 of them are coming with their wives and some of them, and I'm like, that. So joy is a unique, it comes from the inside. Sometimes happiness comes from outside, and I don't want to start preaching. You know my granddad was a preacher. But I don't know how you quantify it other than to be overjoyous, to be proud to see and witness that. And so I think the biggest thing about it is I've reflected on that. I've reflected on the impact it's had on my family, the positive impact of what my dad would think, and what my granddad would think, and my grandparents would think. What my mom and my sister and then my wife, she's like, it's almost when we go someplace, she says, well, should I count how many people are gonna know you? I mean, like we go to Brandon, we're eating in a restaurant in Brandon, and it's Coach McGriff, and he coached me with the Fire, or it's somebody who's affiliated with basketball in some kind of way because I'm on a lot of state committees to help promote the game. And so it's led to a rich life, and I hope it continues. I hope the championships continue, but it's a way to say, for him to say, well, job well done. Now keep going. Now, he's got some more stuff in store, but it was very gratifying. After I got over that I'm going to the Hall of Fame and I really didn't want to be in it. Yeah.
When you look at, well, okay.
Serious about that.
So two things. He went from that to, well, how much, I got to give a speech? Yeah. How much time? 3 to 5 minutes. It's a long night. 3 to 5 minutes, I'll just be getting started. I'll just be getting warmed up.
Yeah.
So
I got to cut it.
Yeah.
It's got to cut.
So we may want to put him last. That way people can figure out what they want to do. Well, Coach, let's talk about development of the game and how you've seen the game change over those years, because football typically in this county gets a lot of the attention. Yeah. And that has changed.
So.
It has changed.
It has changed.
It has changed. But the amount of state championships and the amount of teams, boys and girls, going to the Final Four there at the RP Funding Center, the White House, as it's affectionately referred to. Yes. How have you seen the game change? And for years it seems like if you can get through Polk County, you can get to the White House.
That has not changed. Like the toughness of the kids, the toughness that's bred from the coaches in the county is phenomenal. Like Winter Haven, I mean, they lost the state championship by a point, the boys, the girls as well, as a matter of fact. And I was at both those games, so kudos to both those coaches and programs, and they've got it rolling. So we've got some stuff to do here in Bartow to catch them. But they're playing a USA Today top 20 team in the country. And they've got the lead, top-ranked sophomore, the Boozer guys in the country. And it's no problem. Like, it wasn't like they were overmatched. Matter of fact, for much of the game, the top-ranked team was overmatched. And so that part hasn't changed. I think the way people approach the game has changed. And I call it the Steph Curry effect. Like, a small guy can now dominate a game. Well, when I got into coaching 20 years ago, and we've had Tony Bradley, we had Big Chris Perry, we talk about Chris Richard going into the Hall of Fame, well, you had to have an interior guy. Well, now, if you got somebody that can shoot the ball, or you've got somebody like a Trey Young who can handle the ball and make plays, it just makes it easy. And so we've kind of, the high school game has kind of transitioned to that. We've always played that way. We've had point guards. Okay, Jay Fraud was kind of like that on our 2010 state championship team. Walter Clayton, who, kudos for him, he's transferring to Florida for his junior year, which we're excited about. It is 2 hours away. He was big regard, but still controlled the game like the Steph Curry, like Trey Young, guards like that. But the high school coaches have filtered it down. So the more three-point shooting, more attacking the basket. That's kind of changed. But the Polk County way is defense. We're going to be tough. We're going to be physical. It resonates throughout the state. People come to the Mosaic, like at the end of the year, we host the big Mosaic, but we've got 24 teams. They're coming to play Polk County teams because they say, we want to play these teams to get prepared for our journey to go to the Lakeland Center.
Yeah, so and they bring their good teams. They don't win if they're. So I know Coach Fenlon well.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
If he doesn't have a good team, he's not coming out.
Jack, I've got a waiting list. I've got people that are upset with me because I don't have enough space to get them in. We only got a certain amount of time. So we could have it for 3 days and have quality teams from 3 days and not have any problem getting teams. And so that's a credit to Polk County. It's a credit to the people who run the youth leagues across the county, the high school coaches, the folks in the past who have built the foundation, the coaches before us, and the high school athletic directors before us. It's a credit to you folks that like the Polk County Sports Marketing and all the people who promote sports. The Lakeland Ledger, we've got a platform called Polk Hoops. The guy who runs Polk Hoops helped me start the Lakeland Fire, Corey Barnes, in 1997. Okay. So all that connection is there. A lot of people don't know that he helped start the Lakeland Fire. He doesn't really broadcast it. And so I feel like he's going in the Hall of Fame with me. Like all of this stuff started from a guy at the Boys and Girls Club, a 13-year-old that was playing basketball. We started, and then we started a youth team, and it led to me being a coach at Catholic. I didn't play basketball in high school. I wasn't good enough. I didn't play at Florida Southern for a Hall of Famer like Gordon Gibbons, although me and his son are friends, Jay Gibbons. And so it's led to what's happened the last 21 plus years at Bartow. And so this is an awesome, and it's getting better. Like as a coach, I'm thinking, how can we stay ahead of everybody? Because it's tough. Like the county's tough. Winter Haven's good, Auburn is good. Victory's got a chance to make a Final Four next year. And so people say, well, why do you still coach? You've done everything that a high school coach can do. Well, number one, this is where the Lord placed me. That's number one. And number two, I get excited about competing still to reinvent myself or how we can do it again with a different set of kids in a different environment against different competition. George Jenkins just got a new high school coach, Kenny Davis. Well, I coached him with the Lakeland Fire. And so he's reinvigorated Jenkins. That's my neighbor to the east, to the west of us. And now Lake Region's got a coach to the east of us. So he's in his second year. They won 19, 20 games last year, Coach Simmons. And so now we've got them on the schedule, and they're back. And so I'm excited about those challenges and how we can keep Bartow ahead of the curve. It kind of keeps me young, along with working with the kids. And so it's still an exciting time for basketball in Polk County. There's so many travel ball teams now where kids are playing. And then the youth programs are still, the recreation, the elementary school programs, what we call, where kids are playing. So like the guy from that was the soccer guy, it's still a unique time in Polk County. Sports still matter in the upbringing of young people for all the things that he said, the character building, the building family, how to build young men and women. And so I'm excited. I'm still excited in my 22nd year to be a part of it, right? And I don't know how much longer I'll do it, and I'll do it to something else, till he says otherwise. But while I'm in it, I'm excited. I'm excited to compete. I'm excited to keep building young men. I'm excited to relationships. Like I've got one of my best friends in coaching now is Johnny Lawson. Like he coaches ladies basketball. He's a championship coach. And so we talk all the time about teams. I go to his practice. Once a year, I go to his practice early in the year and just watch him and take notes. He comes to Bartow, and he's brought his girls to Bartow to come. We're probably giving away secrets. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but we're going to secrets for and so here we are picking each other's brains, okay? Billy Washington is his assistant coach at Winter Haven. Well, he's a Lake Wells state champion coach from 2012, and he played football in Lake Wells. We're arch enemies now. Bartow and Lake Wells, I mean, it's oil and water, right? We don't mix. So now we pick each other's brains about basketball and about life. We help uplift each other's families, and we pray when things are going bad, and we hug each other when things are going great. I got the Hall of Fame. The announcement came out in the Ledger, and he coaches the travel ball team that they sometimes use our gym. And as soon as I walked in the door, I kind of walked in late that day, and he stopped practice and said, guys, I want y'all to congratulate this guy is a Hall of Fame coach, and he deserves it. So here's one of your peers who me and him grew up, we're the same age, but he was from Lake Wells, I'm from Lakeland. Didn't know him until I started coaching Bartow. We're arch rivals. He's lifting Lake Wells the same time I'm lifting Bartow. We're trying to keep him down, and he's trying to snatch us from being up high, right? And he feels enough to tell we've got 30 kids in there. This guy, here's what he's done for the community, and celebrate it. Well, isn't that what we're doing? Like, isn't that what we're supposed to be about? And so that's unique in our basketball environment. And so there are more state championships to come, I hope for Bartow, and in 6A, and then for the other teams too, right? And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the direction of Polk County. I want to mention, I know we're probably out of time, I want to mention we got the Polk County Summer League coming up. Yep. We've got 28 teams. I think we got every team in Polk County and some from out of the county playing in the Summer League. All the 28 teams. We're using Florida Southern. Kudos to the athletic director and the basketball coach at Florida Southern with Dan Talbot for getting us to use that facility because they got 4 courts there. We're using the Advent Fieldhouse, so kudos to the city of Winter Haven along with Coach Woodside and Dan Talbot for getting us to use that. We're going to use the Auburndale Rec, so thank you to the city of Auburndale, Eric Robinson. So when we talk about a basketball community, the question that you asked was perfect, and it's perfectly showcased in that Polk County Summer League. And so it starts June 5th at the Advent Fieldhouse. It's not a cost there, right? And if you want to see the makings of what's happening next year, Every team in the county is going to be at Advent Fieldhouse June 5th, starting at 6 o'clock. Come on out.
3 to 5 minutes. Yeah, right.
Wow. Yeah.
No, somebody asked me, like, hey, you're going to talk about Bartow for 2 segments? I said, I guarantee we will cover from Lake Wales to Kathleen to.
We got it all in.
We appreciate it. Well, and there's excitement, right? And there's
We're
energy. And that's what makes Polk County so special because whether it is recreational, competitive, or professional, there's excitement for sports. And I think that's part of the quality of life here.
Yes.
Coach, congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this interview and want to watch more Sports Central, click the video below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.